Sports 910.
You guys are hot.
From CAC Sportsbook in Casino, Arizona.
There's a lot of talk about the possibility of the CW getting the rights for the Pac-12, and you got to look at what the CW's been doing. You know, they're basically have done the exact same thing that Fox did 30 years ago. Fox got into basically just airing primetime stuff from like 8 to 10 Eastern, right? Or, you know, as well as out here. Then they got in with the NFL. And the rest is history. Fox is gigantic, right? Look at what the CW has done. They signed the Live Golf Tour, got that going. They did a deal with the ACC football and basketball. They're going to be the home for 50 games. Those games used to be on Valley Sports. To top it, they are the home of NASCAR, the Infinity Series, starting in 2025. They just bought the NFL films produced inside the NFL. They bought the IndyCar documentaries. They bought an eSports special for Madden, NFL 18. They have 197 stations across the country. It's owned by a company called Nexstar. And they have 40 CW affiliates, big ones, LA, New York, the big one, WPIX in New York, WPHL in Philly, WDAF in Dallas, some really big stations. And I think it would make a lot of sense for the CW and the Pac-12 to kind of work together. Merge, because it's over the air. Anybody can get it. All right, they're going to do all the streaming. They have to do that. But if the CW with the ACC, NASCAR, and Live, I mean, they're showing that they want to be in the sports business.
The only difference is between what they're trying to do right now and what Fox did is Fox had Murdoch money. So that's why they could go after the big dogs, because they were so wealthy. CW is not wealthy like that. However, Raycom Sports is going to be the producer of most of those ACC games. Mm-hmm. So what they have been smart. What they're going to do is they are participating as the carrier, and they are farming out the production and announcers to different broadcast companies like Raycom.
So, Rock, does the money come from CW, or does it come from the partners of the Raycoms? Well, that's
a good question.
What do you mean? If CW acquires the media rights for the Pac-12.
Yeah, they pay for the rights.
Okay, so they bought a
person. Maybe no different than ESPN.
Okay. So
same thing. The thing that CW would benefit the Pac-12, there's no competition.
It's true.
Fox has got every sport.
Right.
You know, ABC's got every sport. You would own it. And come on, sports is appointment television.
Yes, it is.
You're going to find the CW.
Oh, yeah.
If ASU, U of A is playing on CW, you're going to know it's Channel 6 here in Phoenix.
And I think
very easily.
And I think that would be better. I mean, I know they were talking about Apple and Hulu, all those getting involved.
You can still do that.
I know you can. But, I mean, I think for me, you know, I want to watch, you know, cable or over TV, watch the TV. Find it here. Obviously, you can find it very easily here. I forget what the number is. So I think that's great. Okay, I got the Pac-12. I can also go to the Pac-12 network since I've got Cox. I can catch whatever games are going on there as well, too. So I've got, if that's what happens, I've got a couple of venues. If I watch U of A or ASU or whomever, or Oregon and ASU, and it's either on CW or the Pac-12 network, at least I've got two venues, hopefully, if that happens. And I'm like you. Yeah, it's a natural, I would think.
And I'm going to disagree with you a little bit, Jimmy, on not having the deep pockets. I mean, you go back, the closest numbers I can find is 2020.
Okay.
And that was a COVID, or before COVID, right?
Right.
$4.5 billion in revenue. $4.5 billion.
For Nexstar?
Yes, because they own they own everything.
Yeah, they do.
197 stations and 40 affiliates.
That's true.
So I do think they have the money. I mean, obviously they got into NASCAR.
Sure.
I don't know what the rights deal was for the 50 ACC games. I mean, I'm sure that's public somewhere. I just don't have it in front of me.
Right.
I do think, I have a buddy who is the president of a Nexstar station up in Portland, the top Channel 2, whatever that top station is up there. So I have a call into him.
KATU, and I used to work there.
So you've worked everywhere, so it doesn't surprise me. But, so, I mean, they've bought Tribune. I mean, they're huge.
They are big.
I mean,
they are.
They've done
So
they merged.
They're coming. You know, if they're coming to the rescue for the Pac-12, and maybe that's why.
Possibly, we don't know if that's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm
but
saying if they do.
and then they, I don't know if you watch News Nation. I mean, I watch that sometimes. That was the old WGN, where you remember WGN was one of the super stations,
Yes.
like
them and
TBS.
Yep.
And basically, now they have a national newscast that they launched just a couple years ago with that. So they have the ability to really go nuts here. And, I do think this is a very strong possibility, and I think it would be in the best interest for the Pac-12. Not to mention the ACC's there already.
Right.
In the talk of those two conferences merging, this could be that first step.
Wow, Rock, you're connecting the dots here.
Yeah, he is.
It could be potentially a boondoggle for CW to connect all and have it under their control.
Okay, so
If that happens.
And let me add one more thing.
3 minutes.
okay, go.
The CW, 75% of it is through Nexstar.
Okay.
12.5% remaining is Paramount Global and Warner Brothers.
Wow.
Not a bad
so
couple
they have
of others.
money. The thing that I find interesting with what they have done in such a short amount of time, do you think that they are setting themselves up as a alternative sports network without all the other, like what ESPN does with all their Sports Center shows, NFL Live? They're setting themselves up to be a sports carrier network, a game carrier network.
Like a Bally's.
Yeah.
Yeah, but over the air.
But over the air.
So
Correct.
you got a much bigger reach.
Yes.
I would think so if the money's there. Why not?
And I think that's going to be the key. I think for a lot of the Pac-12 teams, okay, that's all well and good. How much will we make on a per yearly basis?
Yeah.
2
than we were
minutes.
making before? Is it the additional? Is it 30 to 40 million a year based on what's going to come out? I think that whomever steps up, I think the money's doled out to each team on a average basis year in and year out might be the determining factor for the remaining teams in the Pac-12 to whether they be aggressive in going toward the Big 12 or, to your point, Rock, looking at the ACC merge. What does that mean for us to get whatever piece of that pie is going to be, and what's that number going to be? That's I think ultimately when they know what the number would be at the Big 12, or for Oregon and Washington what the number is going to be for the Big 10, and then compare those. Now they got the market, whether it's worthwhile to move or stay pat, knowing you're going to get close to or maybe more from CW if that's the group that does it.
And one thing we should point out as well, if you're thinking, well, if they already have the ACC, how can they pick up the Pac-12? Well, it's simple. 3-hour time zone difference. The ACC games most likely
1 minute.
would be over, and then you could slide in the Pac-12 late in the afternoon or evening.
We're going to talk some NAU football. That's right. We're going to catch up with the head coach. Coach Ball's going to join us. Looking forward to as they just hired a new defensive coordinator.